Subscribe to Factly now so you don't miss out on important fact checks like this one. A video being shared widely on social media platforms claims that according to the Indian Independence Act of 1947, the British can once again rule India by cancelling the Indian Constitution. The post alleges that under Section 6, Clause 3 of the Act, the Governor-General of India cannot enact or revoke any law without the consent of the British monarch. It further claims that then Governor-General C. Rajagopalachari gave his assent to the Constitution of India, which came into effect on 26 January 1950, with the approval of the British monarch. We received several queries on our WhatsApp tip line asking if the claim made in this video is true. Let us look at the facts. The Indian Independence Act 1947 was passed by the British Parliament and received royal assent from the British monarch on 18 July 1947. The Act formally ended British rule in India and Pakistan from 15 August 1947 by terminating the suzerainty of the British Crown over all Indian states and all treaty obligations. It granted full legislative sovereignty to the new dominions, removing the British monarch's power to veto or delay laws passed by their respective legislatures. According to the Act, the provinces of Bengal and Punjab were to be dissolved. Bengal was divided into West Bengal and East Bengal, and Punjab into West Punjab and East Punjab. The Act established the two independent dominions of India and Pakistan effective from 15 August 1947. The territories of Pakistan were to include 1. East Bengal, later East Pakistan and now Bangladesh, 2. West Punjab, 3. The province of Sindh, 4. British Baluchistan, and 5. The Northwest Frontier Province, now known as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which was to join Pakistan if a majority of its population voted in favour of joining the new dominion. The territory of India was to include all parts of British India not designated to become part of Pakistan. The key provisions of the Act were as follows. 1. Each dominion was to have a Governor-General representing the British Crown. After 15 August 1947, Lord Mountbatten remained India's Governor-General while Muhammad Ali Jinnah became Pakistan's Governor-General. 2. India and Pakistan were granted full authority to enact their own laws even with extraterritorial effect. 3. Each dominion could amend or repeal any existing British laws that remained in force. 4. The British Crown's authority over princely states lapsed. 5. The title Emperor of India was dropped by the British monarch. And 6. The British Indian Armed Forces were to be divided between the two new dominions. Both countries remained dominions under the British Crown until their respective constitutions came into effect, India in 1950 and Pakistan in 1956. The post claims that under Section 6, Clause 3 of the Indian Independence Act 1947, the Governor-General of India could not enact or revoke any law without the consent of the British monarch. However, Section 6, Clause 3 of the Indian Independence Act 1947 clearly states that the Governor-General of India or Pakistan, each being a dominion within the British Commonwealth at the time, was fully authorized to approve any law passed by that dominion's legislature without the consent of the British monarch. The British king no longer had the power to reject, delay or suspend any law passed by the legislatures of India or Pakistan. Section 9 of the Indian Independence Act 1947 granted the Governor-General temporary powers to facilitate a smooth transition during the partition of India. These powers included the division of government assets, property and liabilities between the two new dominions, as well as the adaptation of existing laws for the transitional period. To validate actions taken in anticipation of the Act, these powers were made retrospective to 3rd June 1947. Clause 5 of Section 9 stated that these powers would expire by 31st March 1948 or earlier if so decided by the new dominions. Further, any orders made under these powers could be amended or repealed by their respective legislatures. According to an Indian Ministry of Law press note dated 1st April 1948, all powers vested in the Governor-General under the Indian Independence Act had lapsed by 1st April 1948. The press note states, the Governor-General's power to make orders under the Independence Act has lapsed by 1st April 1948, and if any further amendments are required, either to any Indian law or to the provisional constitution, they should hereafter be made by legislation passed by the appropriate legislature or by the Constituent Assembly of India, meeting as a constitution-making body, as the case may be. It should be noted that Article 395 of the Indian Constitution and the Constitution of Pakistan, when it came into effect, repealed the Indian Independence Act 1947 in their respective countries. Article 395 of India's Constitution, originally discussed as Draft Article 315, repealed all existing laws, including the Indian Independence Act 1947 and the Government of India Act 1935. along with all enactments amending or supplementing the latter act, except for the abolition of Privy Council Jurisdiction Act 1949, which preceded the Constitution. This draft article, as amended, was adopted into the Constitution on 17th October 1949. This makes it clear that Article 395 repealed the Indian Independence Act 1947, rendering it no longer operational in India. It is also important to note that even though the Constitution repealed certain older laws under Article 395, India did not revoke all pre-Constitution laws on 26 January 1950. Instead, these laws continued to remain in force temporarily unless amended or repealed by Parliament or the state legislatures. Article 372 of the Constitution ensures that all laws in force before the commencement of the Constitution would continue to be valid to avoid a legal vacuum unless altered or repealed by a competent authority. To bring such laws in line with the new constitutional framework, the President was granted temporary powers to modify them by issuing orders, but only within the first 3 years from the Constitution's commencement. However, any such modifications were subject to amendment or repeal by the appropriate legislation or authority. To sum up, as there is no truth to the claim that the Indian Independence Act of 1947 gives the British the power to rule India by cancelling the Indian Constitution, this post is fake. Join our YouTube membership program and be a part of the journey of making public data meaningful. And remember, before you hit that forward button, pause.